Why am I grading with tag? Why am I not grading with PSA? And honestly, I think it's a very valid question. I think everybody that's asked me that question and that wonders, hey, you're kind of an idiot, like, I get it. You know, there's no denying that I would probably make more money if I were to just grade with PSA. What is my quarrels with it? What is the reason? So, for those that don't know, I've been collecting since November. Why so recently? It's really a situation of I was raised relatively poor. I didn't have a lot of money growing up. So when it comes to getting into the hobby later than a lot of people who've been in the hobby for years or decades, right? I understand enjoying PSA. I really do. Like, I get it. And this isn't like hey, you should do this, you should do that. I think everybody is completely allowed to their own perspective, and if they like Beckett, which is the only company I actually don't like, I get it. Like, you know, if you like Beckett, good for you. I'm not here to tell you, hey, you're not allowed to like that, you're not allowed to enjoy something, kind of thing. I don't think we should ever have that conversation in Pokemon, and I think it's very similar. People are gonna hate this one. It's very similar to people that buy from a rip and ship at a high price, as an example, right? I've seen it everywhere. You know, I try to be competitive because I was a small streamer and I still am a relatively nobody. But if you go to these 10,000, 50,000 follower, a lot of these boxes are relatively expensive. And I watch it as like people are paying 30, 40, 50 dollars over market for these boxes from these larger content creators, and I'm just thinking, well, like, you know, I can't really judge them for it. You can tell them, hey, by the way, you're paying a little bit over, but like, you know, you can't be upset about it. Like, you really can't. Like, you can't live in constant upset feelings of saying, like, why are they not researching? Why aren't they doing their homework? Why don't they know how much this is worth and stuff like that? Guys, I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't fucking matter. I'm sorry, I had to throw in a curse word, but I think a lot of people, whether you be on Reddit excessively or whether you be on Twitter, a lot of people believe that they themselves have to be that change, or they have to go ahead and go out of their way and make that change, kind of thing. And I'm going to be honest, no. Like, it's a waste of time. It really is such a waste of time. Don't bother. But this conversation started with tag slabs, so why? I think a lot of people that are very big fans of PSA hate tag in every sense. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like tag is perfect. They're not. But I'm okay having those conversations about how they can improve instead of like just say like acting like it doesn't exist. For example, there are some cases where people are saying that they sent the exact same card and then they got different grades for it, which is really, really bad, by the way. And then there's cases where, you know, it was very breakable. They changed the way it seals or how it's kind of like designed very slightly, but they didn't really announce it, so everybody kind of like acts like it didn't happen. My point is, you can hate tag, but it's really weird for you to go ahead and tell everybody that they should hate tag as well, if that makes sense. Because like you just saw, I've only really been grading a tag, but I just gave you things that sucks about them. Right? So this isn't me saying, hey, tag is perfect. This is me saying, like, I like tag and here are the problems that they have. And I think a lot of people, when it comes to like PSA, they have issues with them, but they're not okay talking about those issues because then it makes it seem like they themselves are wrong. But it's okay to say, hey, I love PSA. I like the way that their slabs are designed. I like that the value that my card has is going to be very long term, but these are my issues with PSA. Those types of conversations, I think, are very fun and very exciting to have because you can say, this is where I want this company to improve, or this is how I would want this company to improve. It's like saying you have to like every single Pokemon card that has ever been released. Be real with yourself. Do you like every single card that's ever been released? Probably not. You might have one that you just don't like, right? It's kind of in that way, but I just have a very strong emotion in the sense that at least have a reasoning that you can at least say this is the reason that you don't like something. If you're being a hater just to be a hater, I remember vividly in middle school, everybody hated Justin Bieber. This is showing my age. Everybody hated Justin Bieber. And even then at that age, I already acknowledged like, but why? Like, it's one of those things that if something's becoming popular or if something's becoming meta, it's very easy to hate on it and not be a fan of it and say, oh, because this is super popular, I'm going to dislike it. Oh, because a lot of people like this new thing, I'm going to dislike it. But there wasn't really a reason. And it was one of those things like, oh, it's lame. And I get it, but you're not really describing what you would want to change or what would make you feel comfortable with that change to be okay with it. For example, if you're a tag hater, you can easily say, why? Right? Just think about it. Why do you hate tag? And what can they do to make it better? Or, just flip it, right? Let's say you hate PSA. And then if I were to ask you, what can PSA do to make you like PSA? For me, it would just be changing the red label to either full white or a different color, and then having like a pristine would be really cool. I like companies that have pristines and the such, but PSA doesn't have it. That is my argument to it. That is what would make me like PSA a little bit more. Whether I would say that I like them more than tag, you have to wait and see until such changes, for example, would be done. I would also like for PSA to be more open in the sense of like why a grade was given. Like, so if you're given a grade, you have to be told, oh, like you got this grade for this reason. The reason that tag does have a little bit more bonus points with me is that because while their grading is not perfect and sometimes their systems actually do miss things, like people have shown that with proof, I still prefer them because at least in that submission, in that grade, they're telling you why they gave you that specific grade. So if they miss something, that is a different conversation than the one I'm trying to state, but I'm really saying, I got this grade, amazing, cool, this is why I got this grade. And I would like for PSA to be able to do that. Naturally, I know that you can get that with a higher tier of pay, but I just wish it wasn't such a big price differential. Other than that, I really just want people to think about it, man. Like, I like PSA, I like CGCs when it comes to like being able to sell it kind of thing. For my personal collection, I do prefer a little bit more tag, but it's more like just the visual appeal to it. I do love pristines, by the way. CGC pristines are so absolute peak. Like, that gold is beautiful, and just the way it stands out comparatively to just regular CGC, which doesn't really have as much like appeal to it. It's kind of just like, the black border. I know this is like a tough conversation because I've scrolled through Reddit and I notice and I acknowledge that a lot of people have this very biased opinion of things, and it's very difficult for very complicated conversations to be done. But I just wish that was the type of way that people interacted about it. I don't know if it's like something about political, me wearing a political shirt. I'm not sure if it's just because there's polarization very easily, and it's easy to say you're in that side and I'm on this side, and we're never going to talk to each other about it, and we're going to act like it doesn't exist. So I'm not a fan of it. I do like when people have like different types of slabs in their inventory or in their personal collection, but I also understand when people only have like only one thing in their personal collection. I would love, for me, right, I would love to have CGC pristines and tag 10s. And then there's people that only like collecting 9s, as an example. So are you going to hate, as let's say if you're just looking at things in value, are you going to hate the person that only collects 9s? Why? They just want their card in a very cheap way, want to collect their card and have it sealed and being able to, it's no longer going to change, it's no longer going to be damaged, and it's a really good condition. It's near mint, right? I'm not right, I wouldn't want to do 9 collection, but I totally understand why people choose to do so, because it's just so much easier. Like, everybody wants to throw them away. I'm currently listing a ton of these slabs on eBay because, like, if I lose $10 that I could have sold them for 15 and I sell them for 5, I'm okay with that. Why? Because at the vendor shows, no one's buying these 9s. Like, it's very rare to get 9 collectors, but there are a lot of 9 collectors. There really is. I'm kind of rambling on this one, but overall, I like Tag. I like my limited edition Meowth promo. There's things that I like, things that I dislike. It's not perfect. You don't need it to be perfect. In the end, enjoy what grading company you want. No one gives a shit. You give a shit. It's your personal collection. However you sort your binder, it is up to you. No one gives a fuck. You care. If people are judging you the way you're sorting your binder, they're the degens. I'm just saying, that's my argument to that. Enjoy. Check out my eBay for the auctions. Buy booster boxes from my online store. Bye.